You have to wonder if the Justice Department is considering whether there is some political solution to this criminal problem, whether part of the issue here is not just that Trump has committed crimes, but that Trump has committed crimes and plans on being back in the White House. Do they consider, as part of a potential plea offer, something that would proscribe him from running for office again? I don't know.
Yes. Just don't call it a conspiracy or anything. That's Rachel Maddow taking a little time off from Pride Month to go in and suggest that maybe if Trump bows to the will of the Democrat Party, that they'll stop the prosecution. It sounded better in its original Tagalog. That's the indigenous language of the Philippines. Ungala, bungala, ungala, bungala. We're a third world country because we have a left-wing Democrat Party in charge of so many of our institutions. An amazing time. Very, very third world. Never seen anything like it in the United States of America, certainly, but boy, oh boy. Well, happy Monday to you and welcome. You may have noticed that I was not here on Friday. On Friday, I was not here. I did my Newsmax show in the evening on Friday, but I did not do my radio show in the morning because I had been in Chicago on Thursday. If you were listening on Thursday, you might have noticed that. And then I had a radio station event with WLS, and I'll get into that later on. Came home on Friday, and because of travel arrangements and things, I was unable to make the radio show on Friday. And for that, I'm very sorry, very, very sorry indeed. But I know that Mike Opelka did a wonderful job, as always. And thank you, Mike Opelka. He's from the old neighborhood, you know. We went to the same Catholic school when we were little kids. Mike and his, I believe, one of 8 kids, Mike Opelka. We were 6 boys in my household. Fairly typical in our neighborhood growing up for that to be the case. There were families of 10 and 12 and kids. I'm just talking about the kids. But never mind that. Let's get to some of the news, because President Trump, in my absence, President Trump he's been indicted. Maybe you heard something about this. 27 counts because of documents which are okay for Hillary and Joe Biden and other people to keep in quantities, even though they're not presidents of the United States and don't have declassification authority, whereas President Trump did have declassification authority. And they cite all kinds of wacky, in fact, I was listening to some smart people talking about this morning, and here's one of the funny, quirky things. They've got 27 counts, 21 documents, but there are 60 some odd boxes. They keep talking about 60 some odd boxes. So I guess some of these documents fill multiple boxes. They're, 2,000 page documents or something. Of course, they're not. That's not true. But they are. Matt Whitaker, I heard Matt Whitaker on the Larry O'Connor show on WMAL this morning, talking about the fact that he was acting attorney general for a period of time, and he's a great guy. He's a normal person. I've met him. He's been on my Newsmax show, as a matter of fact, and he's just great. He's what we call normal. Remember normal? That's why we have Remember Normal T-shirts and coffee mugs at the Chris Plant store, for example, because it's farther and farther away in our rearview mirror. Normal is not just Normal, Illinois, but normal everywhere. And but Matt Whitaker pointed. He said, "Listen, what are they? They're talking about 60 some odd boxes, and we've seen the pictures that they've published. They haven't published any pictures of Joe Biden. What they've collected at Joe Biden's." His so-called think tank funded by the communist Chinese, the offices above the steakhouse on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., Charlie Palmer's Steakhouse, where lobbyists go with members of Congress, spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars just on the bottle of wine at lunch. And it's a very nice steakhouse, very good food if you're ever in town. But above that, Joe Biden was storing boxes and boxes, file cabinets and file cabinets of classified documents. And interestingly, the FBI has not published photos of Joe Biden's classified documents sprawled out on the floor, arrayed for maximum photographic impact That didn't happen with the FBI. Why is that, Michael? Why did the FBI not take Joe Biden's documents? Why did they not get all of the BlackBerries and phones and laptops and things that Hillary Clinton ordered destroyed with hammers she had her staffers destroy the hard drives using hammers of all their communications, and then they used bleach bit. She ordered somebody come in, an expert, and scrub the server. What, with cloth or something? Hey, your husband's cheating on you, even as we speak. Just, by the way, humiliating you again, day in and day out. And Jeffrey Epstein. Let me just say that, Jeffrey Epstein. But that's okay. Were it not for double standards, liberals would have no standards at all. And unfortunately, liberals have taken over our federal justice system and federal law enforcement. So we got the old double standard, and it's pretty amazing to see what we're seeing. And President Trump doesn't help himself. You know, that continues to be true, and has so often been the case. But that's not really a central issue when it comes to the matter at hand. It's quite extraordinary. And never mind Joe Biden getting $5 million and the whistleblower and the bank records and the multiple LLCs and the family transfers and the money going to Joe Biden's grandchildren and his children and all over the family. What was it, Michael? 9 or 12 Biden family members having money funneled to them. And the bank records show this, and the multiple LLCs, the limited liability corporations, and Joe Biden getting $5 million from an executive at Burisma, the gas company where, you remember, it was being investigated by the chief prosecutor in Ukraine, and he ordered that prosecutor be fired and that the investigation stop, and it did. President Trump made a phone call about that to ask, hey, what's going on with this? And for that, the Democrats and the media impeached him. But I repeat myself, amazing stuff. So we're not for double standards once again, and this is double standards on fire like that truck under I-95 and collapsed. This is all part of becoming a third world country. It really is. Now our major highways, major arteries are collapsing. A truck underneath a bridge, and it's complicated. It's not quite a cloverleaf, but this interchange on I-95, Interstate 95, going up and down the east coast of the United States. And the truck, the Washington Post goes on and on and on and says, fortunately, nobody was killed, nobody was injured, except we can't find the truck driver from the burning truck. And so he might have been incinerated in there, but they keep telling us nobody died. And then, as the truck driver and innocent actor in all of this, they can't find him. He's disappeared, but they keep telling us that nobody's dead because you can't believe anything they say in the Washington Post or in any of the news media. So the truck incinerated underneath this bridge overpass. And who knew that a fire could collapse a concrete overpass, steel reinforced, that, trucks can drive over all day long, put a little fire under it, and it collapses. So they say it's going to take months to repair because, we're not exactly the Army Corps of Engineers anymore. I don't think we could get to the moon if the government were in charge of it. Amazing stuff. So the truck driver can't be found. Did he run away and he's in hiding because he's embarrassed? He thinks he's in trouble? Or did he incinerate inside the truck to the point where you can't even find any remains? They don't have an answer to that, yet they keep telling us that nobody was killed. Kind of weird. And there is a car under there that they haven't, but yet nobody was killed. But that might be updated later on.
I do believe that it is the first time in history that fire has ever melted steel.
Exactly. That's Rosie O'Donnell on September 11th, 2001. First time she apparently not from Pittsburgh, as they say. She was paid millions of dollars for her opinions for years. Just amazing stuff. So we got that going, and I'll get to that. The Washington Times, your newspaper of record in Washington D.C., not that trash at the Washington Post. Prosecutors aim to keep Trump off trial. No, that's not it. It's off trail. That's completely crazy. They don't want to keep him off trial. They want to put him on trial. They want to keep him off the trail. That's a crazy story. We'll get to that. Also, because Joe Biden is in charge, the Pentagon is freaking out about potential war with China. The radical left-wing Politico blog site put out, because the Pentagon is convinced that we'd lose. And that's because Joe Biden and the Democrats. But we do have a transgender military, so at least we've got that going for us. Speaking of which, it was, Pride. Isn't it always Pride Month? Every month is Pride. And that means gay pride, because pride only means one thing in 2023, and that is gay pride, not national pride, not American pride, not human pride, not Christian pride, just gay pride and transgender pride, right? And they've got this person, Dr. Rachel Levine. Is Dr. Rachel Levine a doctor? And at the Department of Health and Human Services, this is a man who says, I'm a lady. And Dr. Rachel Levine headed up the parade in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. But Dr. Rachel Levine was dressed fully like a man with pants, and a man, health service person wearing Navy uniform, white naval uniform, right? And Dr. Rachel Levine walking in the front of the parade looked like a man, and everybody commented on it. Hey, wearing the man's uniform with the hair tucked under the Navy hat, health service Navy hat, and so we got that going for us. And also, who is it? The redheaded libertarian posted all kinds of photos of the, bondage and discipline, gay pride in Washington, D.C., where the government official from the Biden administration was leading the parade. They love a parade. And it turns out there's a lot of kink out on the streets. That's your Pride Month, Washington, D.C. There's more on that. That's coming up. So, yeah, but I love we opened with the audio of Rachel Maddow. What do they pay her, $30 million a year? $30 million to do 1 day a week? Is that the thing? And then like a little pickup work here and there. Rachel Maddow is saying, well, the Department of Justice could do a quid pro quo with President Trump, drop all charges if he agrees to not run in 2024, which is, again, kalakalaka, balaka malakalaka. That is, you got to go to like ancient primitive cultures to find anything this corrupt, because we've never seen anything this corrupt in the United States of America. But Rachel Maddow, who went to, where'd she go? Ivy League and Oxford, and she is as corrupt as any of them. They're all very, very corrupt. Also, is it true that all Democrat men are are women in drag? Is that true? Because I saw something about that over the weekend. It could be true that all Democrat men are women in drag. Does that mean that all Democrat women are men in drag? Let me just say, if you're out trolling the bars in Washington, D.C., you should be extra careful, because Democrats are everywhere, and they're not always as they present. So we've got that going for us. But also we got another trophy going to the boy. Did you see this story? This is an amazing story. The New York Post has it, but the Washington Post doesn't, because it's filthy and it's not a newspaper. It's their slogan is, it looks like a newspaper, but it's not. That's the Washington Post. It looks like a newspaper, but it's not. It's right there in their masthead. At least it ought to be. And the New York Post has the story. A man entered a, and I'm going to stop saying a biological man, because that's redundant, isn't it? And repetitive and unnecessarily duplicative. See? So it's a man who entered a woman's bicycle race, a big, famous bicycle race, and entered the bicycle race, and the man won the race by 5 minutes. Normally these things are done, like 0.3 of a second, things like that. 5 minutes. And the man stopped at a Subway along the way, got a sandwich with juicy smollett and some chips, sat down and ate the sandwich and had a Gatorade, waiting for the number 2 racer, who was actually the number 1 woman in the race, to come in. And wait till you hear what she said. She is a woman. Wait till you hear what she said. That's coming up. And the man went home with the trophy and proudly displays it on his mantle. It's a mantle, not a woman-tle. We are at 888-630-9625. President Trump, the indictment, William Barr, a whole lot coming right up. Hey, Chris here with some exciting news. Now you can listen to me live on the WMAL app. Doesn't matter if you're in your car, in the office, on the go. The WMAL app delivers crystal clear around-the-clock news coverage anywhere with cell service or Wi-Fi. So don't miss a second of your favorite shows. Download the WMAL app today on the Apple App Store or at Google Play Store. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to John calling from West Virginia. John, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, good morning, Mike. Good to talk to you. Every morning I listen to you, and I listen to Dan Bongino, and I listen to Mark Levin, and every day it seems like we just get more and more evidence of all this corruption against these Democrats. And my question is when is somebody on our side going to grow a set of stones and do something about this? It seems like the more evidence that they get, the less they do.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? Now, it would be nice if the Congress, we have the House of Representatives, if Kevin McCarthy were pounding the table and speaking loudly and articulately, dare I say, about all of the, why aren't they, I've been yelling about this for a long time. Why don't they have daily press conferences and gather on the steps of the Capitol and, sing the Star-Spangled Banner and do a little bit of theater like the Democrats do constantly, right? And draw attention to it. Of course, they have a news media that attacks them for telling the truth and praises the Democrats for lying, don't they, John?
Yes, they do. And, it's infuriating, and it's sad to see what this country has become. I grew up in the 70s, and that was a great time to grow up. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But now this is a world that I don't even recognize anymore. And if my dad was alive to see this now, he's probably turning in his grave as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Democrat Party is anti-patriotic, aren't they?
They are, and it keeps getting worse. And it's almost like they want to eliminate the Republican Party and just have their one communist regime so that they can tell us what to do. It's really sickening.
I agree with everything you said, except it's almost like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're anti-patriotic. They're not just unpatriotic or un-American. They're anti-American, and they are here to destroy this country. Now, this morning on the front page of the Washington Post, there's a story about Door County, Wisconsin, which is a beautiful vacation destination for people in the Chicago area. It's on a peninsula in Lake Michigan. And the story is about how glorious it is that now there are 10 illegal aliens living per trailer in Door County, Wisconsin. Not exactly a southern border state.
Oh, nice. I'll pack my bags and head on up there.
Yeah, MS-13 has to be everywhere. We had the MS-13 murder of a young girl hacked to death just recently in Frederick, Maryland. So the Democrats are basically out of the closet, and that includes the media, in that they would be happy to use this documents thing, 60 some odd boxes, 21 documents. What's in all the other boxes? Where's the photo display of the evidence gathered in the Joe Biden classified documents case? Did the FBI photograph that evidence? Did they release the photographs of that evidence to the Washington Post, to the New York Times? Should the FBI be disbanded, and should we start over again? Because I got to tell you, Vivek Ramaswamy, who's a smart guy and a good guy, and he was in Washington, D.C. over the weekend, and he posted a tweet, which is kind of fun. Also, the New York Post, I'll get to this, the New York Post today, Trump was indicted, but this is the cover story with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden pictures laughing, being corrupt. You can tell from satellite photos that they're corrupt. What about the Bidens is the headline. Joe's garage files merit some scrutiny. And DOJ and their double standard in Hunter's cover-up by Miranda Devine. The New York Post is covering it. The Washington Post is not. So Vivek Ramaswamy says, I took a walk around our nation's capital tonight and noted some ironies. You know, I like to say they have no sense of irony. They're incapable of understanding irony. Flag Day is coming up this week, and the U.S. Treasury flies the trans flag. The D.C. Mayor's building, our City Hall building, is lit up with Ukrainian yellow and blue. It's honoring Flag Day, Ukrainian flag. Got to have a war in Central Europe because the Democrat Party is the party of war. You know, the Civil War, the president of the Confederate States of America was Jefferson Davis. He was the Democrat. Of course, the first Republican president ever was Abraham Lincoln. That was the Union, the United States of America. He was naturally shot in the head and murdered just after the end of the war by a Democrat who was also an actor, in case there was any question about that. Then Democrat presidents Woodrow Wilson, World War I, FDR, World War II, Korean War, Harry Truman, Vietnam War, John F. Kennedy, then LBJ. Really, without the Democrats, we probably wouldn't have had a war of any kind. So Vivek Ramaswamy, the D.C. Mayor's building lit up like the Ukrainian flag. You see they at the White House had a giant. Is that a gay flag or a transgender flag with the V on it? Because I think that was the transgender flag, right? With the rainbow below, which used to symbolize the Virgin Mary and the Wizard of Oz. Now, gay sex, because the rainbow. And they put up and they violated all U.S. flag protocols at the White House under Joe Biden to fly the gay or the transgender flag with American flags on either side of it. But I actually looked up the flag protocols over the weekend when I saw this. As a law enforcement friend of mine sent me the first picture I saw of it. So I looked up the flag protocols. American flag is supposed to be flown higher than any other flag, should be larger than any other flag. If they're going to hang as banners, then the American flag should be at the center, but the gay trans flag was at the center. And this is coming off of on the back side of the White House, if you will. The Truman balcony is the round balcony. It was added during the White House remodel while Harry Truman was president, so it's called the Truman balcony. But now, actually, it's called the rounded back side of the White House. It's called they've changed. It's no longer the Truman balcony. Now it's the rounded back side of the White House, and they hang the gay transgender flag with at the center of there are two American flags, and then the giant, like an 8-foot high transgender gay rainbow flag back of the White House, and violating U.S. flag protocol, American flag protocol. But that's because the Democrats spit on our flag, burn our flag. You remember the New York Times ran a story on September 11th. Nobody remembers this. September 11th, 2001, the New York Times ran a glowing story about a radical left-wing terrorist, William Ayers, who was naturally given tenure at a major American university and was a pal, and I assume still is, of Barack Obama. They worked together to steal rich people's money and do left-wing things with it. And this glowing story of William Ayers, about William Ayers, where he was standing on the American flag in an alley, trampling the American flag on September 11th, 2001, because they spit on the flag, they burned the flag. Remember at the Hillary Clinton convention in Philadelphia, they forgot to bring a single American flag to the gathering. And then they showed pictures of the Russian Black Sea Fleet and Spanish military jets now we honor the United States military. They're pretending they're lying. And they showed the United States Navy. No, actually, those are Soviet ships. That's the Russian Black Sea Fleet. But never mind that. And then jets flying over. They were F-16s, but they were Spanish, not American. But never mind that. So Vivek Ramaswamy walking around D.C., the D.C. City Hall basically illuminated with the Ukrainian flag colors. You've got the gay flag, because Flag Day is coming up. At the Treasury Department, it's the transgender flag. The Department of Justice, They've got a building downtown. Says, where law ends, tyranny begins. That's what it says above the on the relief above the entrance to the Justice Department. As if completely self-aware of the joke, Vivek Ramaswamy wrote, the National Archives is an ugly, corrupt institution, yet its building is stunningly beautiful. It's where we keep the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. I assume the Democrats will loot it soon because they loot so frequently, don't they? Just amazing stuff. All right, let's go back to the phones, Michael. Let's go. Hey, cut it out. Are you kidding? Let's go to Silver Spring, Maryland, where we're going to talk to Just in Time. Just in Time. You're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning.
So good to see your voice.
Thank you, sir. You know what? First of all, let me give you my congratulations for the Newsmax show. I haven't had a chance to do that, but I enjoy seeing you continue to work and spread the word. I always enjoy you, Chris. You know that.
Thank you, Justin. Just in Time, one of my first callers when I was doing late night and even Sunday radio. And Justin is an old friend from the earliest days of my humble radio show.
And so the justice system has been corrupt for a long time, but y'all wouldn't listen. Remember the FBI, the COINTELPRO? But you wouldn't listen. You wouldn't listen. So let's deal with this coming issue regarding Trump. Now here it is. I have a prediction and also a similarities between Trump, Al Capone, and O.J. Simpson. Here we go. Let's go to the tape. So one of the things that has happened, which is quite similar, is that in October, that was an interesting month that O.J. Simpson was convicted, or should I say, he was released from prison. Not prison, when he was found not guilty for the initial charge.
For murdering his ex-wife and Ron Goldman.
And Ron Goldman, correct. However, they got him in Las Vegas, Nevada, and they got him on this burglary and robbery charge. And on the day that they got him, they convicted him to the date, 13 years to the date of his release from the initial trial. They gave him 33 years in prison for the robbery in Las Vegas, which was coincidental, the same as the $33 million he was charged with in the civil case against him by the Goldman family.
Right.
So that's an interesting coincidence. Now comes Al Capone. Al Capone, they got him after so many years from all the illegal things that he had done. They got him on tax evasion, sent him to 11 years in prison for tax evasion. Now, here we go. Here's the connection. We all know, especially New Yorkers, know that Trump has gotten away with so many things for so many years. It finally caught up to him with this one woman that just got him for this molestation charge. He wasn't convicted of rape, but the molestation charge. And so everything that has been coming around is now seeming to catch up with him. Even all of the president's men. He's got over 11 people that have been convicted and sent to jail. So you're looking at something that's happening right now. I believe he is paying for some corrupt things that he has done before. But here is the prediction, Chris Plant. Trump is going to get away. He's going to pay something. He's going to get charged. But he's going to get away. And one of the reasons why is because of the derivative evidence doctrine. There's going to be something that is going to happen that they're going to say that he can't be convicted because of illegal evidence acquired. You know, the poisonous tree.
Yeah, the fruit of the poisonous tree. Well, just in time, as always, covered a lot of territory here. And let me just scratch the surface on a couple of them. The COINTELPRO you mentioned is the FBI's corrupt 1960s and 70s counterintelligence program where they targeted left-wing groups, the FBI did, including the communists and the socialists, and civil rights movements, and Martin Luther King, for example, under LBJ, I might add, and LBJ's boy, J. Edgar Hoover, who would be celebrating Pride Month in a parade in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
if he were around here, too. You mentioned the case President Trump. Sometime in the 1990s, we don't even know what year, because the woman E. Jean Carroll couldn't tell you specifically what year this allegedly took place, where she says something happened in a dressing room of a Bergdorf Goodman store in New York City decades ago. In fact, the statute of limitations had expired long ago. But the Democrats in New York decided to do away with the statute of limitations for 1 year and 1 year only, just so they could prosecute Donald John Trump, one of their native sons. And on Thanksgiving Day this year, the statutes of limitation will be restored because it was just a one-off lynch mob. No one else will be prosecuted under this law change. That is another example of how filthy corrupt the left wing is, and that the fact that the Democrat Party is the left wing in the United States of America. Well, it is an incredibly corrupt move. You don't say, oh, well, the statute of limitations expired on this decades ago, but we're going to just do away with the statute of limitations in this one instance so we can have one trial. And then, of course, he was not convicted, and it was a completely illogical conclusion by the jury and by the court that he did not sexually assault her, but he maligned her by saying that he did not sexually assault her. So that was a completely...
Well, the condom didn't fit, so you must have quit.
Well, that's another fun...
So I knew you'd laugh.
Fun OJ reference there, but they did not establish in court that a sexual assault took place, and they suspended the statute of limitations for one person and for one case, which is completely and utterly banana republic, and you know that it is. And as for President Trump now paying the price for things that he's done over the course of his lifetime and in the past, that's not actually how the justice system is supposed to work, is it? And you know that that's not how it's supposed to work.
No, it's not. But that's how it goes. Look at the people. But so many times people have gotten away with so much for so long that it becomes jubilant for some people when it's finally caught up to them.
Well,
so let me ask you something.
Like Joe Biden, like Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the entire Biden family taking in millions and millions of dollars.
Every last one.
And we all know all about it. We have the court records, we have the emails, we have the money. He lives in the $5 million houses off of a senator's salary. And it's all the evidence is just laying right in front of us on the dining room table. And we've got a news media that attacks you for bringing it up. And, of course, we had the Democrats controlling the message when Jack Dorsey owned Twitter. They got Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook. They got the FBI in bed with the Democrat Party calling Twitter and Facebook on the lead up to the 2020 election to undermine the President of the United States. We've got a very, very corrupt... And OJ, by the way, did kill those two people. And OJ then did, and it was the dumbest thing ever, steal his own memorabilia, which by that time was owned by somebody else.
Can you imagine? That was the stupidest thing one of the stupidest things that he ever did. But let me ask you.
That was the second stupidest thing he ever did.
Okay. Let me ask you. If out of 37 counts against him, if he is guilty of at least, let's say, 3 of 37, do you think he should be punished?
Well, look, if you're guilty of crimes, then you should. But Justin, and it's great to hear your voice. I look forward to seeing you around town. Now that you're back around here, I see. But he travels a lot. He's all over the world just in time. But I would like to, no, I will not accept it unless Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, and quite honestly, Hillary Clinton, which is a cut and dry case, destruction of evidence under subpoena by the Congress, ordered her people to use hammers to destroy their communications devices. hired somebody to use bleach bit to scrub the server, classified documents all over the place, accessible to communist China, unlike the dining room at Mar-a-Lago, by the way. Just scratching the surface on that, just in time. Good to hear your voice. And since we're talking about E. Jean Carroll, who vaguely accused President Trump of something for which he was not found guilty, happening one year or another in the early 1990s at a very expensive department store in New York, E. Jean Carroll has a Twitter account, and she tweeted in 2020, she said, "I have only one cat. Her name is Vagina T. Fireball." Vagina T. Fireball is the name of her cat. Kind of a creative, not like Rufus Firefly from the, was that Rufus T. Firefly? It was Rufus T. Firefly. So, and Duck Soup, the Marx Brothers. So, Democrats, they're not the same as other people. Let's go to the telephones, Mike. Let's go to Susie calling from Sterling, Virginia. Isn't that where Trump National Golf Course is, Susie?
It is. It's right up the road from me on Lowe's Island Boulevard.
Very nice. Yes. Very nice place. Well, welcome.
Thank you. I'm Susie from Sterling, which, just to remind you, I was on your Alaska cruise a year ago, which was one of the highlights of my life, and with my husband, which we enjoyed tremendously. I just wanted to...
That's very good. I'm very happy to hear that. We're heading off on this year's sea cruise a week from Friday, as a matter of fact.
Yes. I wish I could go this year, but I can't. I'm having a knee replacement instead.
Ouch.
Okay. So, yeah, just real quick before I get to my main point was you always call, not always, sometimes you refer to Lion Sacagawea, and I think that's a slur on a very honorable Native American who was, helped Lewis and Clark find the Northwest Passage or whatever they did. So I feel bad for her that you call people Lion Sacagaweas.
I'm just trying to. I'm running out of time on you, sadly, Susie. But I'm just trying to keep it clean. Some people use other terms.
I know. Well, I know what. The real. Yeah, I know that. Well, anyway, so my main point is about Bill Barr. So I was reading in the paper that this morning, the Washington Times, that once again he's on Fox News saying, this is if Trump is even, all these indictments, it's so serious.
Right.
Even half of them are true. It's so damning.
But what about Biden? I have that audio coming right up for you, Susie.